So we're just going to continue taking a look at factoring. So this is going to be factoring part 2, and we're going to pick up where we left off. Alright, so looking at number 3, you're given 4 terms. So again, 2 by 2 box, common factor, no common factor. 2 by 2 box. Alright, first term in the first box, so 10FG in the first box. Last term in the last box, so positive 27 last box. If you have 4 terms, okay, what it is just going to put the other 2 terms in the order that you see them. So this has to be in order. So go ahead and write down in order. And so it has to go negative 10FG, then negative 30F, and then negative 9G, and then positive 27. It has to be in order, therefore. And then it's pretty much the same thing that we just did. So take out the horizontal common factor. I see an F in both, and I see a 10 in both. Alright, then 10 times something gives you 10FG. So 10 times it has to be G. And then something times G gives you negative 9G. It has to be negative 9. Then 10F times something gives you negative 30F. So that's going to be negative 3. And then use that to check the last box. Negative 9 times negative 3 must give you 27. You've got. And then the answers are right there outside the box. 10F minus 9 and G minus 3. So it's relatively easy, relatively quick. It just takes the guessing out of it if you're doing it I guess the old way. Alright, so again, 2 terms. This time I'm going to show you how to find the 2 numbers without a calculator, because sometimes this can get really lengthy. Alright, so again, 2 by 2 box. First term in the first box, last term in the last box. And then you need to find 2 numbers that multiply to, okay, so again you have to do the first term times the last term. So 20 times 2, which is 40. So 2 numbers that multiply to 40 and add to negative 13, the middle term. And you're going to break this down. So 1 times 40, 2 times what? 20, 4 times, now I'm going to show you something that's really going to work. Okay, I'm just going to write all these down. You see, if you had a pizza and you cut it in half, you have 2 pieces now. And if that's 20, and then you cut the 2 pieces that you already have in half again, you'll have 4 pieces. If you have 4 pieces, that means basically you can take what half was and cut that in half. So 20 cut in half is 10. So 4 pieces is 10. And again, you can cut the 4 pieces in half to 8 pieces, and that cutting the 10 down would give you the answer for 8, which is 5. And that's how you can make this a little bit shorter for yourself. And it looks like actually that's what I'm looking for, because 8 and 5 is going to give me 13. And then play around with the signs, so it's going to be negative 8, negative 5. Put them in the other 2 boxes. Don't forget the variable. So the variable in this case is a Q, because that's what's in the middle. And then the order doesn't matter, so put it in however you want to put it in. Horizontal common factor. So again, what can I take out? I can take out a 5 because it's common in the numbers, and I can take out a Q. And then 5Q times something is 20Q squared, so I'm missing a 4Q. This is a listening check. Shade in the box with 20Q squared where my finger is. Then blank times 4Q is 8Q, so I'm missing it's negative 8Q, so it's negative 2. 5Q times something is negative 5Q, so that has to be negative 1. Use that to check the last box. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, so we are all good. So your answers are 5Q minus 2 and 4Q minus 1. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to do one more example that has a really long, like finding the 2 numbers, because you're going to have to do this without a calculator. So let's say you had 33U squared minus 37U plus 10. So again, you would draw your 2 by 2 box. This is a listening check. Underline 33U squared. First number in the first square, last number in the last square, then you're finding the 2 variables. So 33 times 10 is 330, and then negative 37. So I need 2 numbers that multiply 330 and add to negative 37. So we start breaking this down. So I'm actually going to break this down all the way to 20, because I'm not sure what number I need. And then I'm just going to work from there. This is a listening check. Circle 20. Circle 20. So 1 times what? 1 times 330 is 330. 2 times half of 330 is 150 and 15, so 165. This is a listening check. Circle 2. Alright, now remember, just like we did before, you take a pizza. You cut it in half, and you got, half of it. You cut it in half again, you've got 4 pieces. So if I take 165 and cut it in half, I got 4 pieces. But because it's not even, I can't cut it in half, so 4 doesn't exist. If I cut 4 in half again, I'm going to get 8 pieces. That means 8 doesn't exist because 4 doesn't exist. If I cut 8 pieces in half, I'm going to get 16 pieces, which means 16 doesn't exist because 8 doesn't, and then 32 and so forth. 3 going to 330, we'll just check. If you add 3 plus 3 plus 0, you're going to get 6. So yes, 3 goes into 6, therefore 3 goes into 330. So for this one, I'm just going to know that it's 110 because I know that. And then again, so you take a pizza, you cut it into 3 parts. If you cut half of those 3 parts, you're going to get 6 parts. So take half of 110 and you'll get the answer for 6. So half of 110 is 55. Alright, then take half of 6 parts, you'll get the answer when you take half. So half of 6 is 12. So half of 55 doesn't exist because it's an odd number. Which means half of 12, which would be 24, I guess I don't need it, would also not exist. 5 goes into 66 times, and again this is multiplication times. Then half of 5 is what, 10, so half of 66 is 33, so that gives me the answer for 10. Half of 10 is 20, but that's odd, so 20 doesn't exist. So I go to 7. Alright, with this one I just actually have to just do the long division. So when I do the long division with 7, I see that, see, it's not even going to go, so I can stop right there. 7 doesn't exist. Then remember, half of 7 pieces would be what, 14. So if 7 doesn't exist, 14 doesn't exist. And then half of 14 pieces again would be like 28, and I don't do that. Alright, moving on to the next one, 9. Well, I know 9 doesn't exist, which means 18 doesn't exist, and so forth. 9 doesn't exist because 3 plus 3 is 6, and 9 doesn't go. So do 11. 11 is going to be 3 and add a 0, so 30. Half of 11 will give me 22. So half of 30 is 15. That will give me the answer for 22. And the whole time I'm checking, oh, there it is. I'm checking to get to negative 37. That's the one that it's going to be. So negative and negative is the signs, and that's going to multiply positive 330 and add up to negative 37. So put it in the blanks, or it doesn't matter. Find the horizontal greatest common factor, which is going to be 11u. And then ask 11u times something is 33u squared. It has to be 3u. Something times 3u is negative 15u. It has to be negative 5. 11u times something is negative 22u, so it has to be negative 2. And then use that to check the last box. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10, and we're good to go. So those answers are 11u minus 5 and 3u minus 2. And that's factoring made easy. Now we're going to look at quadratic formula in the next video, and it goes right underneath in that space. Again, if you need an extra page, just go ahead and make it. I squeeze mine all in. So check out the next video.